Hello, dear friends. A whirlwind is an abundance of events occurring at the same time and producing confusion, turmoil, commotion, or social upheaval, like a person who is too lively and restless, and who acts or speaks in a hurried and disorderly manner. Reporting this chaotic situation is a challenge for any journalist. Opinion piece. Whirlwind, uproar, turmoil, confusion, crazy times, rough waters, turbulent times, political turmoil, controlled chaos, deep the storm, manufactured crisis. The end will be the beginning. Freedom and truth will prevail. Let's start. These last 2 weeks have been a whirlwind according to Eric Mede. First, there was an attack on Trump, then a global cyber blackout, then Biden pulled out of the presidential election in a very suspicious way. It's crazy to think that all these events happened in a span of 9 days, but there is something very telling about the world's reaction to them. People don't trust the government. Distrust on politicians is at an all-time high. These events have led to a broader debate about political safety and trust in government, highlighting a critical moment in world politics. It is vital that we become aware of the formation of a collective psychosis, as Dr. Robert Malone calls it. We need to become resilient to prevent the truth from being twisted through emotional manipulation. The first step in manipulating emotions is to divide us and make us identify with one side or the other. If we identify with a political label, such as right or left, conservative or liberal, then we hand over our thinking to someone else. Example. An example is digital IDs, a key component of plans to control humankind. They would use every means possible to enforce it. Nikki Haley launched the misinformation narrative to get people to identify themselves online, which would destroy any sense of privacy. They would then try to convince us that we all need a digital ID. They would use emotional manipulation tactics to enrage us into believing that this is an emergency, and many people will believe it. If this method doesn't work, they will sell us the idea that we need a digital ID to ensure that only legal citizens vote. They don't care how we accept the exchange, as long as they accept them. But we must remember what makes us free. Let us agree not to play their games. Let us not divide our society as they want to do. Let us avoid identifying with their definition of what we should stand for. Let us think for ourselves. We can rebuild society together through critical thinking and emotional awareness. I know that we will get through the difficult times if we hold on to our values. Freedom and truth will prevail. Rough waters. Spaceship Earth carried away by the current. When things look bleak, you have to know that what you see is not representative of how things really are. It's all a farce because you can't tell people the truth. You have to show them, to show it. And that's what they are doing. That helps to correct the course of the ship, and it keeps us informed of this psychological operation. The crazy times we live in continue to manifest. The dark side of planetary cleanup operations is the existence of predators who take advantage of the problem while posing as heroes, while hiding behind a bush. This reveals the spiritual misery of some human beings who sell their soul to prosper while deceiving others. Karma may take a while, but it will catch up with you in the end. Manufactured crises. Citizens are more divided than ever by partisan politics and ideologies. Yet, despite the favor, nothing really changes, no matter which party is in power. This stagnation is because no elected official possesses the real power to effect meaningful change. The real power holders operate behind the scenes and are never seen in the public eye and are never elected by the people and for the people. They make sure to quickly quash any real, beneficial changes that threaten their wealth and power. According, according to Caitlin Johnstone, the two sides of mainstream politics don't fight each other. They only fight you. Their only job is to keep clapping like seals while the chains tighten and while your gaze is fixed on the performance. Instead of identifying and attacking those who control our lives, we engage in futile battles against politicians and each other. This cycle has persisted for decades and we have still learned about almost nothing. Society is more divided than ever, and partisan politics fuels constant conflict. Despite the fervor, meaningful cultural and political change remains elusive. Elected officials are mere figureheads for a carefully orchestrated drama. The main thing to maintain the status quo is distraction, diversion, and subterfuge. By keeping people focused on fighting each other over various issues, we add the dark agenda. Slowly but surely, we allow rights, freedoms, and innate autonomy to be stripped away before our eyes. Today's political landscape is rife with events designed to distract and control. Assassination attempts, sudden election withdrawals, and judicial failures are all part of a controlled chaos that keeps the public in a state of confusion and fear, making it easier to manipulate. This political theater distracts the population with superficial battles. Golden Age. Scott Weber, in quotes, "We are coming full circle. It's like we are watching a movie. Could we stop blaming entire peoples for the actions of a few?" asks Steve Biko. What is the best investment? Service to others is the best way to help yourself. Homeless people in Florida built a mile-long road out of mats leading to a camp in the woods. Dave 68's scientific warning. We have less than a 10% chance of avoiding a collapse of our civilization. In quotes. The colorful agenda is communism with a smile face. The plan to steal farms and restrict travel, cars, and what you eat. A Swedish insect protection company files for bankruptcy due to low demand. Everything has to be clean for the official genesis of the Golden Age, according to Doc Poet. It's a mop-up job. What people think and feel is the power source behind their madness. First contact. According to Kapamur, a high-level source claims Donald Trump is in contact with the Galactics. Connecting to the Ascension plan brings new meaning to the phrase, "The end will not be for everyone." The end will be the beginning. The angel told Daniel that after a time of trouble, in quotes, many will be made blameless and refined, but the wicked will continue to be wicked. Many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth will awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. Those who are wise will shine forth as the brightness of heaven. Close quotes. When will the galactics land? You will meet your star family and friends on the day you want nothing from them. Yes, they are helping you in many ways, but this will not happen if it is not experienced as a true gathering of equals, or if you are weak and helpless. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. When they come, it will be because you have achieved mastery, and even then, they will teach you how to fish, and they will not give you all the fish for free. That is, they will teach you how to create different advanced technologies for yourself, and they will not pass them on to you for free. It doesn't work that way. Curious. Rise of stratospheric balloon tourism. Tropical storm Ida is forming in the Caribbean and could threaten to become a hurricane this weekend. The solar storm in May caused the largest mass emigration of satellites in history. The comet of the century will be visible on October 14th to 24th and is likely to be the brightest object of the 21st century. 10% of Russians would believe Putin if he said that aliens exist, according to a survey. An unknown source that produces a large amount of oxygen is found on the seabed. According to Baxter Dimitri, the Davos Forum is planning a great blackout with the stated goal of creating a permanent reset before the November elections. A UN document dated March 20th, 2000 recommends replacing the white population with large number of immigrants. Microsoft blames the European Commission for the global failure of its systems. Kawasaki presents the first motorcycle with a hydrogen engine. The Curiosity robot opens a rock on Mars by accident and finds pure sulfur. Scientists find a connection between personality and love for pets. Monument to the devotion of a Siamese cat that traveled 2,000 kilometers to return home from Moscow to Murmansk. Video game artists announce a strike concentrated about artificial intelligence. Game theory operations would lead to exposure of the dark side. We are deep in the storm. Suppressed technologies are being released. Technology is advancing at a rapid pace, especially with robotics and artificial intelligence. Economy. Gold price plummets to lowest level in 2 weeks. RFK Jr. questions Trump's recent pro-crypto term as both compete for votes. Brussels gives green light to 1.2 billion aid for renewable hydrogen investment in Spain. According to Ed Steer, the markets would be a fiery cauldron if manipulation ended. As we go through these tumultuous times characterized by political upheaval and economic uncertainty, it is crucial to understand the dynamics of the systems at play. Ukraine. Fitch downgrades Ukraine's debt rating on the brink of default. The Kremlin prefers a peaceful solution to the conflict in Ukraine. Ukraine's foreign minister is ready to negotiate in good faith with Russia. NATO states are embracing conscription and eyeing a future war with Russia. Hungary believes the conflict in Ukraine will escalate as both sides intend to continue hostilities, Prime Minister Viktor Orban said. Venezuela. Venezuela could see an alternation of power this year, says expert. Venezuela prepares for a possible defeat of Maduro in the most unsettling elections in 2 decades. An NGO denounces the blocking of a dozen news portals in Venezuela. Complaints of harassment and repression against the opposition in Venezuela. At least 76 arbitrary arrests reported in Venezuela ahead of presidential elections. Maduro calls those who criticize him hitmen. Left-wing leaders distance themselves from Maduro on the eve of the presidential elections. Several foreign officials announced that they will not be electoral observers in Venezuela. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.